What is up, everybody? It's Marwan Bambley here from the Sketch Monkey with a new live video. In this video, we're gonna talk about sketching with markers as usual, but I got a question the other day on how to sketch with markers, but using basically just one marker to add some super light shading onto your sketches. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. First of all, I want to see that my screen is actually live, so I'm gonna wait until it pops up on my feed. And same thing as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, and I can see my screen now, so that's awesome. If you have any questions whatsoever about sketching, about like design career, how to get jobs or whatever, just type it in the chat box or in the comments below this video, and I will see it live hopefully, and I'll be able to answer it for you. And also don't forget to grab your coffee, super important stuff. This is where all the creativity comes from, just so you know. So I started with doing this beautiful sheet of paper. This is what a like a warm-up page looks like. A lot of mess. It's super messy and just the random lines to just get going, basically. Let me see if I can share this video. Just give me a second before we get into the sketching. All right. All right, so as I said, this is kind of the warm-up page. Just do whatever doodles and stuff you feel comes out when you start. And then when you had a few cups of coffee, you start to get more creative. And you can start getting into what you're really going to sketch. For example, right now I have zero idea what I'm gonna sketch. I'm just gonna see what comes out. Same thing here, I got some new paper this week. I can show you what paper I'm using and how basic it is. So this is the fancy paper I'm using right now. Looks like that. And it's 500, I think it's 500 sheets, so it's gonna last a while. So you don't have to have super cool fancy paper to do any of this. Just pick whatever envelope or paper you have laying around and just get going. Again, if you have any questions, just ask in the comments for this video. I'm more than happy to help you out. So today, let's talk about putting light shading on sketches. We're just gonna use probably just one shade of marker. And what we wanna do first, of course, is just to start warming up. You can do any shapes you want here. It doesn't have to be anything special. As long as you keep the hand moving and just make a few cubes. Or you can make cylinders. Basically, a good thing to start out with is simple geometries like cylinders, cubes, weird shapes like this. You can connect two ellipses maybe. Maybe like this. Just put a line between these two and we have a sweet shape that we can practice on. Let's make some sort of pyramid down here as well, just to add a triangular shape in here. So when you're sketching like this, don't forget to rotate the paper, just to make it easy for yourself to just hit the line in from the correct angle. So if I were to sketch this line right here, which I just did, I don't really want to have the paper in this way because it's gonna make it super hard for me to get that line down. So I want to keep it in the, just make it easy for yourself when you're sketching. And just rotate the paper as many laps as you want. And fill in the baseline just a bit down there to make some, to give it some weight. And from here, I like to just add some features onto these shapes. So we can start by maybe adding, so we have like an edge up here on this thing. Still, this is just to warm up and get the perspective down. Something like that, and we can put out some section lines just to make it more visible how this shape is going. So just in 3D, it makes it easier on the eye to understand what's going on. If you want to start doing this, you can set up an entire grid line with the horizon line if you want to do that, and start with 2 vanishing points and then just create an entire grid. That's one way of sketching in perspective. For me, I think it takes way too long and I don't have the patience to just set up the whole system before I start sketching. So I like to freestyle it like this. And it's probably not going to be as good as if you set up the entire grid system, but honestly I don't care about perfection. That's not what I'm after anyway. So, and this is way more fun anyway. It's faster and it's way more fun. At least that's what I think. Just gonna add a line here as well, just to give it just more visual elements to show what's going on in this sketch. Playground design is a question. If I can do some slide, swings, panels, etc. I've never done that before actually, so I'm gonna think about it because I don't know what that looks like. But I'm gonna think about that and probably do that in another video. Alright, so we're all warmed up now. I think this is enough for warming up, and I did that paper that you saw earlier. So from here, let's just start getting real loose now. So not think anything about shapes or designs, just put down some lines just to get the creativity going. As you can see, these are kind of stale. They're not. They have some tension to them. It doesn't feel like they're free forms. So what we want to do now is just get some free forms here. Just let the pen flow and do the job. Basically, your hand should be moving ahead of your thoughts. That's the whole idea here. So I don't even know where the hand is going. I just want to keep it moving. That's the whole point. You can make another shape here. This often turns out to be speed forms. They look like spaceships or something similar to that. So for example, let's use this shape down here as an example how to add markers really fast to a shape. Just gonna make one more. What can we do about this? Can we make something out of this maybe? See, some cool shapes come out of these speed forms when you don't really think about what it is you're doing. You can define everything later on. You don't have to have a clear vision about what you want to sketch when you start. Just start doing this. It's a great way to, if you're having like issues coming up with stuff, just let the pen flow on the paper and don't really think about it. And I'm sure you're gonna come up with stuff. Let me just take a sip of my coffee. All right, so we have some markers here, and let's see. We want to have pale markers for this because we just want to have some really light markers to go and show where the shading is, and not really make any renderings. So I think I'm gonna start with these two. I think you can see what they're. Let me see right there. Peach and light orange. Let's go with these two to start with. All right, that's perfect. So we want to start by adding some light shading to this. What do we need to think about first? If you've seen any of my videos before, you should know what the first step is here, and that is always to keep think about where the light source is coming from. And as you know, I like to keep it simple, so I'm gonna have the light source coming from here to make a beautiful looking sun right there. And that means that now we have to think about the shapes of this shape here. So how does this shape look to you in your head? Where does it go out and where does it go in? And then you need to put the marker where in the surfaces that are in the shade. So for me, let me show you with the pen how I see this shape. I see it as this part here. This part is a top part, kind of like a top shield that's facing up. So if it's facing towards the light source, which is right here, that means that I'm not gonna put any marker on it because we're just gonna use one marker and we're just gonna use a very light marker. So to me, it goes like this. And then it goes in here. And then this line here makes it go out again. So where the markers are gonna happen here is at the bottom of this shape because it's close to the ground. We have the ground right here. And inside of this area, since this is kind of carved out as a shape. So let's see how that's gonna look. Let's start by adding markers where there's obviously going to be shading. So first of all, it's under here in this area. And down here. And this is totally up to you how far you want to take this marker sketching. I mean, if you want to go ahead and render this, then do it. And if you want to keep it just like this, just keep it like this. You can add as many markers as you want, but this is really good if you're in a hurry and you need to, you know, put a lot of ideas down really fast. Then this is a great way to get a lot of ideas down. And same thing here. Now I'm gonna have the light source coming from here. And in my head, this shape looks like this surface here is going to be in the shade. So I'm gonna put markers on this now, and hopefully you can see how I see this shape. If it makes sense to you. Also down here, I'm gonna have some markers there. Want to have some marker right here. It's a weird looking shape, but it looks, I can probably, go ahead and do something cool with this shape. If I use more markers, I can define it further, but I'm gonna keep it like that for now. And what else? We can do this thing right here. I'm gonna add a few more lines to this shape to just give it a bit more definition and make it more interesting. And you can start by even, getting into line shading like this if you want to do that, just to help guide where you're gonna put the markers later. You can start by doing it like this. So now I know the marker is gonna go here, and this gives me an idea of how the angle of that panel. And same thing here. Thank you, Posse. I saw your comment. I'm glad you liked them. And thank you so much for the order. Let's add some markers to this. I'm gonna use the peach now and see how that turns out. So I already put out where I'm putting the markers because I did the line shading. And I kind of like this marker. It's peach. It's a peach color, I guess, like really light pink almost. So I guess that's how you can do really simple marker sketching if you only have a few light markers. I'm gonna show you here as well. So you can just put it on this pyramid down here. Just fill it in real fast. Also, don't forget the baseline. I like to put markers on the baseline even if this surface is being hit directly by some light source. I always like to add some markers to the baseline down there. So it's not really, I think it's about not overthinking markers too much. Just experiment with it until you figure out how they work and what works best for you. You might be able to copy some people and their styles, and I would advise that you do that. You just find some cool designers that you like their styles. Try to copy exactly what they're doing. Try to think about why they're doing what they do. So why did they put marker there? And why do they put highlights here? And what are they doing with their lines over here and so on? And then you just try to copy that style, and automatically you're going to come up with your own style, because it's impossible to straight up copy someone 100%. But it's a really good way to learn this. So Google some cool designers and then just start copying. So this is a lot of fun. Like random shapes, you just doesn't have to symbolize anything. It can just be whatever. Hope you, FedEx, I wish you good luck for your sketching course deadline tomorrow. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. I like to add these kind of lines just to give the reflections more life. And how to figure out where to put these lines, it's the best way to figure that out is to look at real objects and study the reflections of them. So right now I'm just adding some line weight to these shapes. to give it weight. And line weight, as always, is all about the light source as well. If you know where the light source is, you know which lines to add thickness to. It's really not complicated. You just have to keep in mind where the light source is. So same thing here, we have the light source coming from here, right? That means that this line right here is going to be in the shade, and I want to add some thickness to it. Maybe even some line shading at the end of this, something like that. And of course, the baseline needs to be the thickest line of all of these. And if you have a black marker, you can add the black marker on here. Or you can do it just like this and just add the big pen. And adjust the thickness that way. So that was kind of quick, so I want to sketch something else, but I'm not sure I want to sketch a car. Maybe we can do like a motorcycle or something like that. Motorcycle or a scooter. And see what comes out of that. Also, the faster you move the pen, I think the faster you move the pen, the cleaner the lines are going to be. And if you want to learn how to get the lines exactly where you want to have them, that's all about just practice, practice, practice. I don't think there is any shortcut to getting your line quality up. That's just all about putting in the time and just make an entire sheet of paper full with just lines. So just go from one side to the other and do that for I don't know how many sheets of paper, but after 10,000 sheets of papers like that, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna get your line quality up. So if there's any questions so far, just feel free to ask. Just gonna clean up this cube a little bit. I really like this shape, how this turned out. It looks like something, I don't know what it looks like, it just looks interesting. And it would be cool to make this in 3D. Just design it in a 3D software and see how it would look like if we turn it around. I think I'm just gonna fill this sheet up with random stuff. So something shapes like this, we could maybe make a small motorcycle right here. Adding some line weight to this cylinder. I think we can add some markers to that. Gonna go back to the orange one that we had, the light orange, and add some marker to it. Let's say the light source is coming from here. Here, since I have such a thick big line here, I want to stay away from it, because if I go over that with a marker, it's gonna bleed a lot, and it's gonna mess up the lines and the marker as well, because the marker is gonna get dirty, and then I have to kind of sketch for a while with a half black marker, and I don't want to do that. I think we're fine for now. I can add something to this cube here as well, really quick. Still just keeping in mind where the light source is coming from. I'm keeping it coming from there. Meaning that this surface right here is not being hit by the light. Same thing with this one. And again, we have the baseline down here. Add some marker to that. We can even add some marker over here. Just really light and fast. So yeah, that's what I would do if I only had a marker, or if I had a timeline, which I had to come up with a bunch of ideas for something. Just think about the light source. If you don't know what to sketch, go crazy with the hand and a cup of coffee, and I'm sure you're gonna come up with a bunch of designs like this. So yeah, that's about it. That's it for this live session. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you shared this video with your friends. And I will see you next time. Take it easy, guys.